My name is Clarence Howland, and I'm recording this because quiet places no longer feel empty to me. In 1978, I was still young enough to believe silence meant safety. That belief didn't survive the basin. Some ground doesn't need wind to move. Some places hum because something underneath them is already awake. The basin sits low and wide, a shallow bowl of pale grass and exposed stone surrounded by ridgelines that block most weather. On clear days, sound should carry cleanly there. On still days, nothing should move at all. The first time I crossed it, there wasn't a single cloud in the sky. No breeze, no pressure change. The kind of calm rangers appreciate because it means nothing unexpected is coming. Halfway across, my boots began to buzz. Not shake, buzz. A fine vibration like standing too close to heavy machinery, except there was nothing around but open land and old rock. I stopped walking. The vibration didn't stop. It passed through my legs, my belt buckle, the metal frame of my pack. The grass around me quivered slightly, not bent by air, but trembling in place. I checked my radio. No chatter, no interference, just the vibration, steady and low, like something large idling far below. When I stepped forward, the vibration shifted. Not louder, closer, as if it had adjusted to my movement. I took 3 more steps and felt it correct again, syncing itself to my pace with a delay just long enough to notice. That was the first moment I understood I wasn't triggering it. I was being accommodated. I logged it as seismic activity and kept moving. That's what you do when something doesn't fit your understanding. You use a word that sounds official and hope it seals the gap. The basin didn't smell right. There was no decay, no sulfur, no mineral sharpness, just a clean, empty scent that made breathing feel exposed. Birds avoided the low ground entirely. Insects hovered at the edges and never crossed. When I reached the far side, the vibration faded gradually, like a motor winding down. I told myself it was coincidence. 2 weeks later, I crossed again with Ranger Pike. Same conditions, same stillness. The vibration started earlier that time before we reached the center. Pike felt it too. He laughed once nervously and said it felt like the ground was warming up. His radio began to hum a low tone underneath the carrier signal, not static, a sustained note. When Pike stopped walking, the tone dropped. When he shifted his weight, it rose again. We turned back together. Neither of us said much until we were out of the basin entirely. The vibration cut off sharply at the edge like we'd stepped off a platform. Pike wrote nothing in the logbook that night. Neither did I. After that, equipment started reacting before we did. Truck mirrors vibrated when parked near the rim. Metal tools left on the ground rattled faintly. Once a paper map laid flat on a rock rippled as if brushed by breath, though the air was dead still. The basin stayed calm visually. No dust, no moving grass, just the sense that everything solid was under quiet tension. The incident that forced attention came in late September. Pike volunteered to take a solo patrol across the basin to check markers along the far ridge. He radioed in at the edge. He never checked out on the other side. Search protocol brought trucks, men, paper maps spread across hoods. We entered in a line, spaced carefully, boots buzzing in unison as soon as we crossed the rim. The vibration was stronger with more of us there, not chaotic, focused, like it preferred company. We found Pike's hat near the center. It lay flat, unmoving, vibrating in place. His radio was 10 yards away, antenna bent, emitting a low, steady tone that didn't correspond to any channel. There were footprints leading in. None leading out. No drag marks, no disturbance, just absence. When I knelt to pick up the radio, the vibration surged hard enough to blur my vision. The tone spiked, then settled back into a steady rhythm. I dropped it immediately. The vibration eased almost reluctantly. The orders came the next morning. Verbal, efficient. The basin was to be reclassified as unstable terrain and removed from recreational routes, patrols rerouted. Pike listed as missing, presumed disoriented. No mention of vibration, no mention of sound. I signed because refusing would have meant standing alone on ground that already knew me. After Pike vanished, the basin stopped pretending to be subtle. The vibration didn't grow louder, but it became more confident, more consistent. Rangers avoided the low ground without being told. Even new transfers learned quickly where their boots shouldn't linger. By October, the basin no longer appeared on updated paper maps. The contour lines smoothed themselves out, erasing the shallow bowl entirely. I kept an older chart folded in my locker, the paper worn thin where my thumb traced the missing shape. At night, when the station was quiet, I could feel vibration in my cot springs, faint but unmistakable. Radios were the worst. When powered on near the rim, they picked up a harmonic undertone beneath normal traffic. If two radios were close together, the tone synced between them, rising and falling in perfect alignment. One night, I powered mine off completely and still felt it buzzing against my ribs. Men from outside the district arrived before winter. Plain coats, unmarked vehicles. They brought instruments that hummed when placed on the ground and needles that refused to settle. One of them asked me how long the vibration took to adjust when someone entered the basin. I didn't answer. He nodded anyway. They told us the area was restricted, not dangerous, restricted, no fences, no signs, just absence. They collected older maps and removed pages from logbooks. Pike's name disappeared line by line. That winter, I dreamed of standing in the basin alone. No wind, no sound, just vibration rolling through my bones like a second skeleton. In the dreams, I wasn't afraid. That scared me more than anything else. In early spring, I went back alone. I told myself it was for closure. That was a lie. I needed to know if it still recognized me. The vibration began immediately. Familiar. It rose through my boots and settled into my frame like a practiced fit. I realized then it wasn't reacting to movement. It was reacting to intention. I knelt and placed my palm on the ground. The vibration deepened as if something massive leaned closer. My teeth buzzed, my vision blurred. For a moment I understood what Pike must have felt when he stayed too long. I pulled away and staggered back. The vibration followed for 3 steps, then snapped off like a boundary closing. My transfer came through 2 weeks later. No delay, no questions. I packed my maps, my logbooks, my flashlight, and left the radio behind. As I drove away, the vibration thinned but didn't disappear. Years passed, different parks, different ground. Stillness never felt empty again. I felt it in footbridges, in metal stairwells, in the frame of my bed when everything else was quiet. Standing still let it catch up. In 1994, I read a short article buried in a regional paper. A hiker missing near a remote basin. Still air, equipment malfunction, unexplained vibration. I felt it before I finished reading. That night the vibration was stronger than ever. It passed through the bed frame, through my spine, into my chest. I couldn't tell whether it was matching my heartbeat or correcting it. It isn't alive the way we define life. It resonates, it copies, weight, breath, intention. Pike stayed too long, so did I. The basin learned how a man stands when he listens. Once it had that pattern, it didn't need the body anymore. That's why it follows through metal and distance. That's why leaving didn't matter. If you ever cross open ground where the air is calm but the world feels tense, don't pause, don't test it, don't stand still. Some basins vibrate because of wind you can't feel, some because of pressure you can't measure, and some because they are listening. Once they know how you stand in silence, they never forget it.